Alright, so these current battles for the Spade Kingdom have been absolutely insane when it comes to showing off the capabilities of our various characters. Black Clover does an incredible job of giving even its most relatively minor of characters their due diligence. And so with that being the case, the same may especially be said for our main characters. And so with this video, we would like to highlight the advancements of both YUNO and ASTA, and hopefully in the process, discern which of the two may be considered to be more powerful than the other at this current point. And I think that this is such a fascinating subject to tackle on account of the fact that throughout the entire history of this series, which is over 300 chapters at this point, not once have ASTA and YUNO fought against one another. At least not really. What is truly an extreme oddity when it comes to shonen rivalries. Now don't get me wrong, it could be said that the two have in a sense clashed in regards to their desires, as both were assigned with the exploration of that dungeon during the early days of the series, but ultimately it never really escalated into any form of physical confrontation, and instead, for the most part, as it tends to, boiled down to a shared endeavor in the name of their country. I mean, even when YUNO looked to be possessed, you would think that we would get an ASTA versus YUNO fight, but no, not at all. The two are indeed rivals for the ever coveted position of Wizard King, but even before that, they are friends, brothers even. They inspire one another to persevere and have faith in each other, even at their lowest points. That, and they most certainly contrast one another. One beloved by mana, and the other devoid of it. One empowered by a spirit, the other partnered with a devil. One especially known for his incredible natural talent, and the other known for his hard work and diligence in spite of certain adversities. But you know, when it comes to simply being the more valuable tactical asset, I would have to say that for the overwhelming majority of the series, YUNO has been the superior of the two. Now don't get me wrong, ASTA's ability to negate magic is absolutely incredible in this world of magic on account of its ability to feasibly pose a threat to just about any combatant in the series. Even if an opponent is vastly superior, for the most part, one oversight against even a base beginning of the series ASTA could prove fatal. But the versatility of YUNO's wind magic capabilities are far too great to overlook. We are talking staggering offense, defense, evasion, transportation, and supportive augmentation at just about any range you want. All of which being further empowered to even more ridiculous levels thanks to Sylph, who has only matured further in power as things have progressed. In terms of leadership, in just 2 years of being a magical knight, YUNO has swiftly become the vice captain of the Clover Kingdom's most decorated guild. ASTA, on the other hand, for as inspiring as he may be, lacks such credentials. And the reason I bring this aspect up at all is to again highlight their shared desire to become the Wizard King, a position that is not simply based on power, but rather, according to Wizard King Julius, based on merit. And on that note, as an asset, if the majority of the country's populace were not so ignorant, then perhaps they would come to realize that in just half a year since ASTA joined the Black Bulls, the most notoriously hopeless guild in the country, they went from the very bottom of the bottom to number 2 most accomplished. And they only came at number 2 because they were so deep in the negative the year before. Both YUNO and ASTA were recognized for their respective contributions, but as is to be expected from prejudice, YUNO was far more applauded than ASTA. But here's the thing, these guild ranks aren't the only things changing in the Clover Kingdom. The beliefs and sentiments of the people are as well. The most important figures amongst the Magic Knights, the captains, all respect and revere these two to be indispensable aspects of the kingdom. And that is all despite their otherwise lowly beginnings, and now especially with the very first appearance of his Devil Union mode, ASTA was able to single-handedly mirror the greatest feat of the legendary first Wizard King in a matter of minutes by felling a titanic demon of destruction. Rising to the occasion with the perceivably blasphemous power of a devil in tow, he did what the current Wizard King, several royals, government officials, and Magic Knights failed to do. There is genuinely no greater merit to be found in the service of one's country than something like this. YUNO has done some incredible, I mean truly incredible things without a shadow of a doubt, but this was on a whole different level and something that only ASTA could have done. But of course, this then brings us to the current state of their capabilities. ASTA now has Devil Union, and YUNO has gained not only complete Spirit Dive, but also a second Royal Grimoire. one that now provides him access to star magic. When it comes to Asta, his Devil Union feats are insane. We already covered the whole demon thing, but the way he was able to do the very same against 2 devils of the highest order was obscene. The demon may have been mighty, but at the end of the day, it was a senseless brute. Those devils, however, were very methodical in their torment. Yet he did not struggle against these things in the slightest when it came to power, despite their maddening mana levels. I mean, from that battle alone, it is made all too clear that against a fully powered and augmented Dante, or even the devilish progenitor of curses Magecula themselves, Asta at his best would win. And you know what, to be honest, based on Noel's triumph over a 100% Vanica in just a minute flat, I would argue that Spirit Dive Noel is superior to Spirit Dive YUNO. I mean, his fight against Xenon has been dragging on for a while now in canon, and the two have only just pulled out all the stops. Frankly, for all the versatility YUNO possesses, between his wind and now even star magics, Asta has a counter for each and every one of them. It is simply inconceivable for YUNO to defeat Asta while he is in Devil Union mode. It is just not happening. However, as we have seen from Asta versus the Lilith and Ahama fusion, if his opponent is fast enough, Asta, for all his power, will struggle to deliver a decisive blow. And if Spirit Dive YUNO wasn't fast enough, thanks to Star Magic Conjunction, the man now has lightspeed teleportation, which does not bode well for Asta at all on account of the 5-minute time limit of his transformation. The fact of the matter being that if he cannot conclude things in that time frame, then it is an instant loss for him thanks to the resulting bodily pain it provides him afterwards. But then again, it's not as if YUNO's teleportation doesn't have caveats of its own, because he can only do so from star to star, which we have thus far seen to be a total of 4 at any given time. And so there is a degree of predictability to be found with this. It does make certain proceedings ineffective, but it's not infallible. And you know what, the sheer fact that YUNO is even still struggling to overpower Devil Xenon is enough to say that he is not on the same level of capabilities as Asta is right now. YUNO is not stronger than Asta, but if he can avoid and evade entirely for 5 minutes straight, he could win. Otherwise, he has no chance whatsoever. It is not even a contest. With all that being said, things will more than likely not remain this way, as these two do have a lot of room for development even at their incredible levels of power currently. Obviously for Asta, getting rid of that 5-minute time limit would be huge, and to be fair, he has only just tapped into this power. He has only had it for a couple of days at this point. He hasn't really had a chance to develop it properly. Once he was able to get his foot through the door with it, it was just like, alright, we gotta go. As for YUNO, a similar conversation is to be had, considering he has just only gotten this star magic in the midst of this current battle. When it comes to magical practitioners in this world, yes, they do get their grimoires at a later age, but for the most part, for their entire lives, these characters do possess some rudimentary form of their later magics. And so I can only imagine that suddenly having a whole new power at your disposal would have quite the steep learning curve. But if there's anyone who can figure it out, it would be a genius like YUNO. But that about does it for the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, let us know down below, along with who you actually believe would win in a fight, Asta or YUNO right now. And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe to Plot Armor with notifications on, because when it comes to bringing you some of the best Black Clover content on the platform, Plot Armor has you covered. As always, I'm Sliceable Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching, and have an awesome day. I love you.